Okay, so let me know if I'm audible.
Yeah, you are. Very loud and clear.
Great, thank you so much. So we need to get started.
Okay.
Yeah, so allow me just to welcome everyone. Yeah, so we want to welcome everyone to this webinar for this month, right? Yeah, so this is a monthly series of our webinars, and this one is a follow-up to the previously held Africa FutureTech Summit 2025 edition, right? Yeah, so we want to follow up on what we started, and then we see how we can build up also, going forward. So I want to once more say, is it good evening, wherever you're connecting from? Is it good morning? Is it good afternoon? So it's a warm welcome to you to the MIBT monthly webinars. Like I mentioned, this is a series on Web3 and emerging tech, and like I mentioned, this one follows quite a successful, Future Tech Summit that we had, yeah, and we've come to see the importance of continuing the ecosystem conversations beyond the summit, right? Yeah. So Frederick Nonde is my name, and I'm founder and CEO for the MIBT Global Ecosystem, if you like. We have a number of entities in there. And so just to let you know that we are co-hosting this webinar, with the Institute of Emerging Technologies of South Africa. It's the first webinar we are hosting together with my colleague Paul Machaka, and connecting from South Africa. Yeah, so wanna talk a little bit more about the collaborations and the partnerships that emanated from the recently held summit, like I mentioned. So for this webinar, it's part of our broader effort to strengthen collaboration, innovation, ecosystem, emerging technology, engagement, if you like, and also we're also conscious of creating opportunities, not just for young people, but also especially we are passionate about seeing more girls and women getting into the tech space across Africa. And so as we build toward the Africa Future Tech Summit 2026 edition, which is going to be hybrid. Yeah, the previous one was 100% virtual. So 2024 edition was hybrid. 2025 we're 100% virtual. 2026 we're reverting back to hybrid, and we hope to see most of you colleagues on the call in person, right? So we're looking forward to that. And so our belief at MIBT Global is that Africa's future will be shaped not only by technology, right, but by collaboration, entrepreneurship, practical innovation, synergy, internships, mentorships, and also access to affordable opportunities and funding, right? Yeah. So today we are honored to host quite different countries, okay, who are here to contribute toward the digital transformation, innovation, and as well as technology advancements not just here in Africa, but remember we are now part of the global ecosystem. So thank you all for being part of this important conversation. So it's now my pleasure to introduce to you my co-host, my colleague for South Africa. Give a proper introduction of herself, and she's going to tell us about what she's doing with her institute. So Paul, are you on the call? You can take it up from there.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I am. Just want to confirm again that if I'm audible, you can hear me nicely.
Very much audible. I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay. So let me just start by saying good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I'm not sure where you are connecting from. My name is Paul Machaka. I'm actually very excited to be here on this call today, and also to be co-hosting with my colleague, Mr. Frederick. And I'm just so excited because I actually met Mr. Fred in the past AFTS FutureTech Summit. And to show that it was so successful, we actually ended up, connecting and having like some serious synergies. And today we have successfully partnered to work together in the transformation of Africa. So I'm really excited. Just to give you a bit of a background of who I am, I'm the founder and CEO of IETSA. IETSA stands for Institute of Emerging Technology South Africa. So IETSA was actually born in 2022, just to be precise. And the reason why I actually initiated the initiative called IETSA, it is because of the challenges that, most African countries are also experiencing, which is not actually foreign as well in South Africa. We still have a high challenge of unemployment. We've got issues around a digital skills gap. We've got issues around the adoption of new, technologies. And the idea was for me to actually come with something that will actually bridge the gap to close the digital divide, not only just in technology, but with the focus on emerging technologies. And our motto really is not just to educate, but we also empower people not just to learn the technology, but to learn how to innovate, using the various technologies. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to share quickly in terms of our strategy as IETSA, the pillars that we're looking at, and how we've actually structured our organization in developing it. But before I actually even go into more details about IETSA, I also want to just say that I've just, acquired another head that I'm very excited about as well. After, the Future Tech Summit, I'm currently now officially the continental director for Women in Trade for the AFYEF organization, of which Mr. Fred is also the vice president. So I'm actually very excited about this initiative as well because of it actually allows us, or rather gives us an opportunity to leverage like the skills that we have to actually impact the continent. And for me as well, I think I'm very excited about the role because it will also, provide that platform and an opportunity to empower also other women, inspire them to actually, be part of this emerging, economy that is actually driven by emerging technologies. So when you look at the landscape or the current developments and innovations that we have currently, particularly in this emerging technology space, you find that there's many women who are not necessarily yet, fully participating in this digital development. And I believe this is the time and an opportunity for many of us to actually jump in the ship and become, those people who are also part of actually shaping the next wave of of the three, interconnected pillars as we have designed our strategy. The first one is the education arm, where we have high impact programs that are focused on specific technologies, like for instance, many of us blockchain, AI, but we also do like satellite programs. We have IoT programs. We also look at VR, robotics, and other emerging tech, including threefold. And the reason for that is that we want to create actually an awareness for many who are actually being excluded right now. We actually also serve very strongly underserved communities, many who are strongly not so aware about the development and the evolvement of technology in this dispensation of time. The programs are actually designed to actually introduce them, empower them, and help them to actually find their place in the new economy. So I call it a new economy because of it is the way the economy is now, getting reorganized or getting reshaped. Is no longer the same as how the economy was driven before. So today, everything is actually moving digital, and emerging technologies are the driver. So I'm assisting people really through our programs to actually understand the nature of how this technology has been evolving, and where we are right now, and how to plug themselves into the ecosystem so that they can actually become valuable participants in the new digital economy. So instead of being spectators, I'm saying, this is a way of actually driving inclusion, or the inclusive growth, in making sure that we build capacity, we empower people with the right skills, and make sure that we position them, we position them so that they can also become participants in this new economy. So the next pillar that we have is what we call IETSA Tech. IETSA Tech basically is the innovation arm of IETSA. So we take this education and things that we're actually learning, and we start designing solutions and products for industry, depending on the focus of the technology that we will actually be working on. So in this particular arm as well, what we're looking at is to drive the agenda around digital sovereignty and also data sovereignty, in terms of making sure that we don't only just build, but we also actually acquire the infrastructure and own the infrastructure by which way we need to be building. So our approach really, we are basically one of the few companies or organizations that is actually pioneering what we call decentralized sovereign data infrastructure, which is very unique in its own right, if I can put it that way. And as a result, one of the key developments that we're working on is what we call an IETSA decentralized cloud that is still actually coming. So in this particular project as well, we are, you know, how can I put it? We are looking forward as well for extending partnerships to actually, drive this agenda even more strongly, so that we can actually fast track the implementation of this particular cloud solution that is actually made by Africans for Africa. Okay. Then the last that we have is our incubation hub, whereby we're saying that instead of just giving you skills and making sure that you're empowered, we have two avenues of actually an exit from our program. It's either you go into a remote global opportunity, or you actually start what we call a startup. Okay, it's a startup hub that we call it, and there we drive entrepreneurship through the design of solutions that would have actually assisted our startups to actually get involved in, for a lack of a better word. So now, in the interest of time, I've just said a mouthful of what we are doing. So what actually excites me about what we are doing now, and also our partnership as well with the YEF, is the fact that now we will actually be co-hosting, co-designing and co-developing, for the benefit of Africa, and also for the development of women, to make sure they also become part of what we are also doing. Um, And then with that said, I just want to close that conversation and just say I'm very excited to be part of this amazing journey. And I think Fred has made it so simple for us to plug ourselves in and actually find our purpose and the empowerment of the economy of Africa going forward. I'm going to close it there. Very excited. I'm very happy. Okay. So I just want to, I just have a couple of questions that I want us to just, reflect on after the amazing Future Tech Summit that we just had. I think from that summit itself, I gained so much insight. And not only did I gain insight, but I also saw possibilities that are really, how can I put it, exciting for us all as a collective, from a collaborative perspective, narrative for Africa. So let me just say to Mr. Fred, even as I open this floor and conversation, to say, following this successful Future Tech Summit, how would you actually position like key opportunities that you see emerging, in our innovation ecosystems? Let's start with that one, and we can just unpack that. Okay. Over to you.
Yes, I'm super excited for I think the roles that you're taking up, not just for your institute, but also Women in Trade,
Yeah.
which is also the AFIF Women Wing, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super excited. You see why I mentioned that I'll leave the introduction to you so that you do justice to your introduction. Otherwise, so yeah, so we're super excited.
Yeah.
I know there's eyes ahead, but
That's right.
I like your passion. I like your commitment. Yeah. And already I'm seeing amazing things coming up. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's only a couple of weeks since we had the summit, but you see, it didn't just end in conversations. Now we are talking, impactful collaborations and partnerships, right? And then
That's
we are
right.
moving into a number of different things as we develop the women from across the continent that needs to fit from these opportunities.
Yeah.
We are part of the FCFTA ecosystem that is bringing us together, not just as Africans, but of course the entire continent is opening up. So we have our colleagues who are coming from all over the world, global thought leaders. Some of them, we have them as part of this conversation today.
Yeah.
And you see, we are no longer talking about working in silos in Africa. There's been a lot of that, working in isolation, duplicating effort, right? Maybe competing among ourselves, as it were. But we are now collaborating more than ever. It's been 5 years since the start of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. 54 countries out of 55 African countries are part of this agreement. And then we are talking a combined population of place that when you talk of the 4 billion, that should place us like I think the third population. Although I need to check my facts again. So now it's these big populations also that creates a huge market for our people. It creates a huge domestic market, if you like. So amazing things are happening on the African continent. The tariff and non-tariff barriers are being eliminated. They are going away. The visa fees are going away. This week, we've been attending the Biashara Africa in Togo, hosted by the FCFTA Secretariat. We've seen a landmark announcement there. Togo has just completely abolished visa fees for all African countries. Every African now will go into Togo visa-free, right?
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
3 days from now, it will be African Freedom Day. Ghana has already announced they are following suit. It will be 100% visa-free for all Africans. Yeah, I know in my country, Zambia, our government is doing everything possible. I think a number of African countries also are not paying any visa fees. I know other countries like Kenya. I was in Kenya 3 months ago. We didn't get to pay any visa fees. So it's amazing. So you see, already the continent is integrating.
That's right.
Now we're gonna need to develop our infrastructure, but more especially our technology. And this is what brings us to this conversation. Web3 emerging technologies for Africa. How can we develop that space and then unlock as many opportunities for our young people, as well as the girls and women who are coming in the emerging tech
space,
right? 50% of the 1.4 billion people poor is female, right?
Yes.
700 million people on the African continent are female. Majority of those that are involved in cross-border trade or trading in the local communities, these are women who are behind these businesses, right?
That's right. Yes.
We're not also gonna leave them behind when it comes to developing the digital and tech space. We need as many women as possible.
That's right.
We're on the majority as well. And then you'll be interested to know that Africa is also the youngest continent, if you like. And projections are that by 2050 again, Africa will continue to be the youngest population. So we have this demographic that is, the World Bank statistics show that there are over 465 million youths. By now, it should be almost 5. And yet, our combined job market is only able to create around 10 to 12 million jobs per annum, right?
Sure.
So we have a lot of work to do together. And this is what brings us together. After our summits, our webinars, we have to move into creating real opportunities for our people on the continent. So it's super exciting that we are all here, continue with our conversation. So I'm excited to see how far we can go just to make a contribution to the development of this space.
Amazing. Amazing. Sure. Yeah, true that we still have a lot of work, and it is exciting because it's not a vision that is actually far. We are already started. We are working. There's many projects that are on the pipeline to actually make a reality of some of the desires and aspirations that we've all been having. So Africa will never be the same again. And I believe that with the initiatives like ourselves and other, colleagues, across other continents in partnership with some of the developments that we're working on, then the narrative is going to be exciting for all of us. So yeah, watch this space and thank you for that contribution.
Absolutely, Paul. With that said, don't you agree?
Yep,
Yeah.
I do.
So we've got some amazing, thought leaders on the call who are gonna help us to get into deeper conversation. I think that will lead us to the first panel discussion that we're gonna go into. And this one will focus on innovation, I think startups and the Africa's digital transformation. And our moderator is Walia Nonde, Associate Professor at MIBT. And she has a panel that is going to be joining her. And in this conversation, I think we're going to explore how emerging technologies, innovation ecosystem, and global collaboration as on the women entrepreneurs across Africa. So, Walia, are you on the call with your panel? So we're looking forward to this conversation. I can see your panel, Professor Salman Haider on the call. I see Chirag Sharma and is Nevo on the call as well. After that conversation, are you on the
Yes,
call?
I'm on the call.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Please
Okay.
take it up from there.
Thank you so much. So just to do a brief introduction, my name is Walia Nonde. I am the CTO at MIBT. I am based in Lusaka, Zambia. And I would like to welcome you all to the first panel discussion for this webinar, which is innovation, startups, and digital transformation. So following the success of the Africa FutureTech Summit 2025, this webinar is going to give us an opportunity to not only reflect on the conversations that we had, like that began there, but to also just expand more and more importantly, turn ideas into action as we build momentum for the Africa FutureTech Summit 2026. And, Africa is at a critical moment in its digital transformation journey. Across the continent, we are seeing bold innovations, rise in startup of young people stepping forward with ideas that can shape industries and solve local challenges. But important questions remain, like how do we strengthen these ecosystems and how do we create better pathways for funding, internships, and skills development? And that is what this panel discussion is going to be answering. Like, these are the questions that are going to be answered in this panel discussion. So I'm honored to be joined by an incredible panel that is Professor Salman Haider and Chirag Workesa. Thank you so much for being here. So to start with, Professor Salman Haider, I'm going to ask you to just give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Sure, Walia. Thank you very much for having me here on this particular summit. I'm excited definitely to speak about how exactly do we need to get this innovation started in the African continent. And so my introduction would start from it's been around 13 years in the market. I have been working on software, starting from the game development. And then, of course, I have been dedicating on the speedier part of the blockchain, Web3, and so many other technologies that includes the AI revolution. I did work on quantum computing back in the early stage of the days where it was barely a name to be called upon. Then I remember correctly in 2019 when I started decentralized blockchain computing as a very starter on to see how this technology can, divide the technological base onto multiple grounds and front. So there we go. I guess we are quite blessed, I can say, and lucky to have this opportunity at the earliest stage, 7 years ago, when I was one of the second person in Pakistan to start with the blockchain learning and integration. And then at this point, we are huge teams with multiple software companies in Asia, in Europe, in America. They are particularly expanding quickly, right? And then I remember uh, last year I was working with one of the tech giant in Johannesburg, South Africa, where we were mostly focused on the healthcare in blockchain, and then how the blockchain can revolutionize the software industry with offline first mechanism, where what we can do is directly enable a Bluetooth or GPS technology to communicate with the ambulance and with the hospital daycare stuff in case there are some remote areas where we can barely communicate with the internet. And then there was a concept of the hyperledger blockchain, which can be utilized for having, such configurations and such registrations for the healthcare, for pathology, for many other sectors in tech. So it's not just about the Web3, it's about the AI workflows and how the AI can become more agentic and more automatic with the blockchain decentralization. So yeah, that's what concludes me on the technology sector. Thank you.
Wow, Professor Salman, that is really impressive. And it is an honor to have one of the pioneers of blockchain in Pakistan here with us. So we have a lot to learn from you. Next up is Shirag Sharma. Please give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me here. I'm Chirag and I belong to India. I work as a Chief Growth and Strategy Officer at Sphinx. And about my background, I sit at the intersection of AI, digital transformation, and operating reality, where strategy meets those constants, and where each either becomes practical or quietly collapses. My focus is majorly bringing clarity before scaling and judgmental before execution. Over past 12 years, I have been engaged with enterprise transformation initiatives involving generative AI strategy, cloud, and data platforms. Uh, Moreover, I'm typically involved when complexity is high and priorities are unclear. Alongside my work as an advisor, I work as a program director for generative AI in an academic setting with Altash University, where I'm teaching, different courses. So lucky to be part of this webinar, and thank you for joining me here.
Thank you so much for that impressive bio, Shirag. We move on to Nabil. Please give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. All distinguished panelists, organizers, and participants. I speak today as a founder, and I go by the name of Lekesa. I'm from Kenya. I'm representing a generation of builders working at the intersection of infrastructure, intelligence, and impact across Africa. This webinar following AFTFCS 2025 and building towards AFTS 2026 is not just a continuation of dialogue. It's a signal that Africa innovation ecosystem is entering a more coordinated and execution-driven space. So, as a person, I understand that we are asking ourselves, how can we innovate the next Africa Silicon Valley? So we're building towards that, and never is one of them. So the problem and talk about Africa and its problem and how to use solutions. Above all,
Thank you so much for that introduction, Neville. It's a pleasure to have you all in this webinar. We have an amazing panel. Okay, so to start off, the first question is, what kind of innovation ecosystems does Africa need to truly support the next generation of startups and entrepreneurs? Professor Salman.
Yeah, okay. Could you please come again? I guess I missed the first part you were mentioning about the entrepreneurship and stuff.
Okay, no problem. So the ecosystems does Africa need to truly support the next generation of startups and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, of course. This is definitely a good question, and I'm sure I haven't been connected with the African continent for almost 3 years, closely observing what is happening there and what are we at the edge of, growing up with. So I guess at this point we need one thing that is really required is to educate the people that are in the tech industry. We don't really have much of the tech giants or tech startups that are growing in the West or East Africa. So I believe the majority requires a complete and good, sound learning system where we can provide them with nano degrees or with certifications. And we are not really now at this point talking about the blockchain or Web3. Quite honestly, we have already kind of missed that bubble of Web3 emerging technology expansion. At this point we really need to shift our motives into a mix and merger of blockchain and AI. So Web3 is not really about just a blockchain development. It's about the AI, VR, AR, and so many other things in connection with, right? So I would suggest maybe at this point we rather focus on educating the early tech entrepreneurs or innovative centers or the startups to focus on the automation, on the AI development, and of course, that combines with the blockchain. The blockchain itself is a decentralized computing. It's mostly about the data being transferred in a channel where the decentralization is ensured, the scalability is ensured, and then most of on top is the security is liable. But if we are missing out on the AI, we don't think we will be able to secure the data. So automation is the first thing that we require, and then on top, the decentralization. And secondly, the decentralization is not an easier thing to adapt. It's quite expensive for such startups which cannot invest huge into the market, right? So rather we can start with smaller part where we can have some Web3 ecosystem development and then move forward with some automation integrated into that. And there comes some seed funding on the entrepreneurship, on the startup businesses, and then something unique. If we are not giving a taste of AI into any of it, I don't think we would be able to scale in such emerging technological wave. The AI bubble is going to last for next 1 or 2 years. The cloud, the GPT, the OpenAI, the Anthropic models, all of these are making waves quite fast. The bigger companies and tech giants are quickly laying off the people. And I guess this is how the situation looks like for all the continents in the world, not just Africa, Asia, America, or the Europe, right? And Australia is something which is still required to have some extension to the industry. So Australia and Africa, these are two of the continents which requires immediate education into AI and blockchain, and then some startup integrations that how we can develop some product which can enhance the basic economy model and then the sectorized IT communication. So I guess this is my take on this question. Yep.
Thank you so much, Professor. At least people have had an idea on what is involved under Web3, and I think we just had a mini lecture, which was very interesting about Web3 and AI technology. So thank you so much for that. We move on to Chirag. What kind of innovation ecosystems does Africa need to truly support the next generation of startups and entrepreneurs? You can tell us your take.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to differ a little bit from what the majority of people are following currently. I think Africa doesn't need to copy, what Silicon Valley is exactly doing. Africa, in my, experience, needs to build an innovation ecosystem based on its own realities, with their strengths and opportunities. And I do believe the focus should be on problem solving rather than just trend-based startups opening. That should not be the focus. And the biggest opportunity lies in the areas like fintech, education, healthcare, to most part agriculture as well. Cybersecurity and digital transformation is a more like an umbrella term when it comes to solving real everyday challenge for millions of populations we have in Africa. The second thing is, where we are finding challenges is about accessibility. Young innovators should have, kind of easier access to mentorship, internships, and affordable funding and technology resources. And many talented founders have, what I have seen, have good ideas, but they generally lack of guidance and support systems, which is required. And lastly, I will say collaboration is what needed, very, very crucial for universities, governments, private companies, early investors, and startup communities should work together instead of working in, as a standalone, siloed kind of thing. But strong ecosystems are built through, mutual beneficial partnerships. Africa again have a lot of advantage. A huge advantage is about a young population, growing digital adoption all across, and increasing, entrepreneurial energy. If this energy is combined with emerging techs like AI, cloud, blockchain, cybersecurity, I think Africa can build solutions not only for Africa but for the global market. So, in my view, Africa's innovation ecosystem should be, more practical, inclusive, and collaborative for creating a real impact at scale rather than copying anyone. That's my take.
Thank you so much, Chirag. Those are really great points, and I do agree with you. It really needs to be practical, innovative, because a lot of people, and you also mentioned easy access and support systems. A lot of people want to start something, they want to start their journey in the tech sector, but they don't have support. So I feel like those are really important points that you brought up. We now come to Neville. I would like to hear from you. What kind of innovations ecosystems does Africa need to truly support the next generation of startups and entrepreneurs?
Well, first of all, I'm talking from a point of an African who has experienced the African way of living, or rather the African technology way of doing things. So, first of all, I'll put this straight that African don't need any more innovations, or rather innovators. It needs a solution for this idea that innovators have. So I'll approach this directly from a point of geopolitics and everything. So we, in the world where we're living right now, we have like every continent is building from inside. So we have
Sorry, Nobel, we can't hear you.
I think he lost connection or something.
Okay. All right. I guess we can move on as we wait for him to join us. Um, Shirag, you mentioned really important points about access to sponsorships, scholarships, and funding. Um, Many startups struggle to access funding. What practical approaches can help young innovators gain access to more affordable and inclusive funding opportunities?
You want to have a practical approaches, you mean, right? If I didn't miss anything.
Yes. Like what practical approaches can help young innovators to gain access to the funding opportunities, affordable and inclusive funding opportunities?
I think one practical approach could be, creating a very stronger connection between, industry, universities, startups which are starting yet to launch, and global organization. Because today many students and young innovators are talented, but they simply don't know, where the real opportunity lies, I will say. So the first step is improving, your awareness and access through digital platforms, up for mentorship programs and ecosystem communities. I think that would be a good step. Funding should become more accessible at an early stage. Not every startup needs million of. Sometimes small grants, incubation support, audits, trainings, or if we land a right internship opportunity, I think can create a huge impact. Third would be, to go for partnerships. That is very important, of course. Global companies, development organizations, and government can together collaborate to create a scholarship programs focused on emerging tech, like AI is booming, cloud and digital entrepreneurship. I also believe funding should not focus only on ideas, but on community impact, what the impact it will create for a larger audience. And moreover, investors and institutions should support founders who are solving real local problems with their scalable solutions, as also mentorship means a lot in this. So many startups fail not because of they don't have talent or they are not innovative, but because of lack of good network, or have a right strategic direction. So I think that problem can be solved through building a strong mentorship ecosystem, and might be able to have a improved success rates.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really amazing points. Professor Saban, we move on to you. What practical approaches can help young innovators get access to more affordable and inclusive funding opportunities?
Well, this is quite an easy, or apart from that, quite a difficult question to answer. It's just about the exploration, what kind of gathering you are sitting in, what kind of opportunity building you are talking about. It's not just about the education that we spread already, right? We now need to be at a mature point where we have a business, and that business is already growing, and these young opportunists or engineers are already processing some of the basic applications. For example, if I am part of Africa and I'm a young innovator, I'm really excited to have learned AI, blockchain, Web3, emerging technologies. Now I want to process some application, like I want to apply and see how this knowledge is going to expand my horizon, and how this can particularly solve the problems in my continent, in my city or state. So in that case, we first need to connect with the global audience, as Chirag mentioned, and I totally agree with his approach. We need to talk about the global expansion where some of the Silicon Valley's distributors or contractors, or you can say the seed funders or angel investors are already in there. So instead of wasting our time in just being localized, we rather expand ourselves on international stage and speak about our technological achievements, that what we have achieved and what we have unique in our stance. That is something which can make some probable update, right? Which can make some unique contribution to our society. So we need to do a technological search if we want to get on the ground. And secondly, the innovatory summits like this one, like this Motley Institute providing with African Summit, we can more, contribute in such particular summits or join such online webinars to expand our connections and to see of the people who are relevant to us or our work. And lastly, I would say speaking about any of these things is not really a big deal, but implementation is really required. I once heard from someone that if you are really feared about flying or deep diving into the water, instead of just fearing about it, maybe just try jumping from the mountain or within the deep sea and see how you are going to learn diving or learn to fly. So this is how I guess you can get your take up to the mark and able to find better opportunities. Yeah.
Amazing points. Thank you so much. We have seen that there are so many opportunities that youths have actually. Neville, sorry we lost you.
Yeah, sure. My internet
Yeah,
trips. Sorry for that.
it's okay. Welcome back. So you were actually answering the first question. Perhaps you can continue, and then I can ask you the second question as well.
Okay, sure. So I was saying that Africa as a continent, we have a problem of not building from inside. So the world is building their own infrastructures from inside. First of all, we don't lack innovators. What we lack is the system. So as Africa, as we're going forward, we should get small small talents that can escalate to become startups and companies. You and the other part is that having a specific niche of investment, or rather handling a very specific problem that cuts across the whole sectors. Let me talk about this as an example of elaboration. In Kenya, I think on May 25th, on April 25th, 2026 in Kenya, the president canceled a $1 billion deal with Microsoft. So the problem wasn't that the deal was bad. The problem was that we don't have infrastructure or rather energy to sustain that kind of data centers that will support our data integrity. And also, like, we have chances to develop, but we are suffering I call this disease the disease of lack. The disease of lack is whereby you you have the opportunity to use something but is out of reach. Let me say we have a deal with the Microsoft about $1 billion, and we lacked energy. So we lack the optimization of energy. So in Africa, as we all talk about AI and artificial intelligence, data centers, infrastructure, let's remember that Africa systems are running on an a legacy infrastructure systems. So the problem here that our infrastructure are not coordinated across Africa, across the countries, so that we can have a decentralized system whereby we can manage, let me say, energy. We can optimize our energy using AI, or rather, about like using AI rather than using AI to power energy. We use energy to power AI. You know, if we are not going to do that, then we are not going to scale as Africa. So first, we have to build from inside. That's my point. We have to build from inside when it comes to financial access. We have to build from inside when it comes to energy. We have to build it from inside when it
I think we lost him again.
Okay, yeah, looks like he's having network challenges. Okay, so we can move on. You know, another major thing that we can look at is that innovation thrives where ecosystems connect. So now, how can African innovators collaborate more effectively with global systems, universities, and technology communities? Professor Salman, what do you think? How can African innovators collaborate more effectively with global systems?
About the connect and the bond. If calculated or kept or digital trade systems are becoming, if you know, like there is expansion regardless the boundaries boundaries. It's about the technological expansion in the global market. So we rather focus on Africans' opportunity. Eh, It's kind of, to plug directly into those global value chains instead of just waiting for traditional marketing client. I would say maybe what we can do is we kind of build some standard compliant solutions, like global system integration around standards, not just about the ideas to be built upon. African innovators further can align with some IOSA standards that I believe we haven't heard of mostly, right? Because this is something that is the least of our concern. The African market, or maybe most of the Asian market, are not really worried about how compliance should be working with our ecosystem and if the data is being secured by GDPR or ISO, et cetera, et cetera. So we really need to focus on these traditional compliance models at first. And then we also need to understand the open banking frameworks. We need to understand the digital identity standards, the blockchain interoperability protocols, like how the cross communication among multiple EVM, non-EVM blockchains can help scale the system, right? It's not just about token transfers anymore. It's about the cross-chain messaging, like from one network, one blockchain, one ecosystem, one software, how you can communicate and talk to other systems regardless of their underlying technology difference. So these are, I guess, most important. And then on top of that, as Chirag mentioned, we really need to work on some AI workflows, like mostly the AI governance frameworks, right? So ESG is one of the things, the compliance reporting models is another. So the African innovators has to learn these basics of the software development and then the delivery, and then start up building on top of all. And for example, if we say a fintech integrating with Swift compatible infrastructure can be one example. The tokenization project that includes the RWA can be aligned with some institutional custody models, right? So the health tech, as I mentioned, one of the examples for Zimbabwe, Zambia, and some major states in Africa, right? Those were integrated some offline first models. So those also include some healthcare systems supporting HLS, FHIR, standards on top, and how the payment gateways can be integrated with Web3 credit cards, debit card like for innovation, where a card can be scanned and can be integrated as more like an NFC that holds more of an NFT for the purchase into the in e-commerce, and also one of the stable held QR code that can be utilized for token transfers or payment gateways. And then, of course, the AI system to be built with explanatory and compliance layers. These, I guess, immediately increases enterprise adoption among all. And then I believe the vast expansion could be done by leveraging the Pan-African global ecosystem bridges, right? The African innovation scales faster when connected with a more of the structured ecosystem. That ecosystem includes the innovation hubs, some of the accelerator programs. I believe we have that Uniswap accelerator program being launched recently. Many of my African students, they also participated. And many of my Asian students also participated, and they were able to participate in the hackathons. So we also need to look out to see in AI or Web3 what kind of hackathons or accelerator programs or innovatory hubs or trade alliance or finance institutions or maybe like research consortiums are there where we can contribute. If let's say we are not able to find any opportunity, then comes the open source directories and Web3 AI communities that we can join, and we can look at some bug bounties where we can contribute our skill set to find a problem, maybe in an open AI repository, or maybe cloud models, or maybe some softwares that are built using AI to see any of the vulnerability or any particular malware injection to see how we can improve the security and auditability of that particular project. And this can allow us to name our expansion and also provide us with honorary tribute on how the African innovators and engineers are being able to assist and contribute moving forward. I quite honestly would be speaking about on the threshold that most of us, they barely understand and know about the African people, right? And if they ever able to contribute, most of the time what we see in is some Indian, some Asian, some Australian, some European, or maybe some American XYZ software engineer or hacker was able to find some bug in that software. But why not Africans? Why not we are standing up apart to see any of such opportunity to run off the rail? So I believe more than just the adaption, what we need is to provide our name on the front, is to let the world know that Africa is also doing something, that our people are also making an impact, and we are doing something unique that is surely, making Africa proud. So I believe this is where we need to head off to instead of just focusing on
Wow, thank you so much, Professor. That is very insightful. We move on to Shirag. I hope I'm getting your name correctly. I apologize. Okay. Kindly just remind me, how do you pronounce your name?
It's Chirag.
Sirag.
Chirag.
Chirag. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So, with all these emerging technologies out there, like artificial intelligence, Web3, and blockchain, cybersecurity and digital trust, digital identity, climate and agricultural technologies, which technologies would you advise young innovators to focus their energy on?
I don't think so. I would suggest a single technology for it because every technology is having their own cause and cons and different applications as well. Technology, can solve many problems, I will say, but it's not the only solution, I will say. So we should have a mix of technology, mix of technologies based on what kind of use case we are building, what kind of problem we are solving. uh, you know we have to also be into a budget. Pricing is also a big challenge when we are solving some problem through technology. So it all depends, what kind of business case we are building around. So, but having said that, uh, the technology which is more towards having a great future can sustain into the market, building more practical use cases, I will say, should have have a learning curve is very high, I will say, focused towards. Also, its practical application when it's into BFSI or healthcare, what practically it can solve the problem, and not depend on the problem to the solution much, but be a problem solver, give up, identify a real problem that process may face in the near future also can help. So some of the emerging technologies I would suggest, generative AI is one of them. AR, VR, what Salman has suggested. I'm also aligned with this, and blockchain, of course.
Thank you so much for that guidance. And also, what advice would you give young innovators, developers, and startup founders who are trying to build impactful solutions in Africa today? And as you give advice, you can also just include in your concluding remarks. So you can just briefly give us a response to that.
Cool. Thank you for that. Africa, as much as I know, already has talent, creativity, and energy. That next step is what we have to adopt is building a structured global collaboration with action, not just conversation. It will not help. First action, we can take, like university and innovation hubs should create a direct partnership programs with include student exchange programs or internships, of course. And startups is also asking for some incubations, and moreover, push for joint innovation projects, participating in remote collaboration today can really make the game global, and Africa will get a global exposure into it. Secondly, African startups should actively participate in international, tech events, hackathons, accelerators, and open source projects. And in that also, visibility is very important. The more innovators showcase their work globally, the more partnership and investment opportunities will come along the way. Uh, I think last would be focus on skills aligned with what global demand is there. Areas like AI, cloud engineering, or digital product development have always have a worldwide demand across. So universities should align learning with the industry needs, not based on the curriculum they have decided at the very earlier of their foundation. And finally, collaboration should move from kind of competition mindset to ecosystem mindset, when universities and enterprises and people who are already into the ground, like technology leaders, work together, they create innovation at scale we can't imagine. So the future is not local versus global anymore. The future is more towards connected ecosystems solving global problems together. Yes.
Thank you so much, Rag, for that, for those amazing points and the guidance. We have really learned a lot. And we come to you, Professor Salman. May you please give some advice to young innovators, developers, and startup founders, and also your concluding remarks briefly, please. Thank you.
Well, I guess with the advice part, I'm not really good at it most of the time, but let me try something. I guess most startups they fail because they build features instead of just solving systematic inefficiencies, right? And highest value that companies can typically address is mostly the financial access, specifically for some of the remote areas, mostly the identity infrastructure that we can talk about. The cross-border payments and commerce is also one of the key hot topic to look at. My advice would be to not architect your startup like a small local business, but also look out for multi-country expansions, some cloud native infrastructure, some mobile first access, because not all the people wants to have some desktop or web application accessible, right? And also, if you are expanding to the horizon on the international stage, you need to work on the compliance readiness at the first part, and then of course the technical data interoperability that is required very much. Then, as I mentioned, do not overinvest. If let's say you have a problem in hand, as Chirag mentioned, you need to solve that at the first, right? Once you're able to solve the problem, now you need to find out the market where that problem lies, and then particularly run the ads. Maybe the Google ads, the Meta, the LinkedIn ads are very sortable to expand your business and to reach out to the people who requires this particular solution. Lastly, as an advice, I would say to the innovators or engineers, instead of just running behind one technological sector, try to play on multiple horizons, on multiple fronts. You need to be a full stack engineer or a full stack architect to understand all the boundaries layer as a businessman. A businessman or a techpreneur is not just about who can speak, but he also needs to understand the underlying technology he is representing. In today's era, we are doing a very fast paced emerging market, right? We are going on a very high speed. So we need to compete with the global market. We need to be very much knowledgeable, to have every single stance in mind. So if we are not good at, providing our stance at equivalent point or letting the people believe us, then we won't be able to win the business. So speak well, understand well, and if you are good at each of these, I'm sure you will be able to ace the market. I wish good luck with all those learning curve with Motley Institute, with rest of the blockchain and Web3 and AI horizons. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. We really appreciate. Is Neville in the meeting? I can't seem to see him. Can anybody see Neville?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Ah, okay. All right. So sorry about your network. Yeah. And so we are concluding this panel, but we just want to give you a floor to just give some advice to the young innovators and also your concluding remarks.
Okay. I'll start by on giving out my conclusion remarks. On that, I'll say that Africa, like Africa engineers, has to have a very different view when it comes to technology compared to other engineers in the rest of the world, because what we are fighting isn't the lack of knowledge or the lack of maybe the know-how, but is the lack of infrastructure and everything. So you have to build what you put in mind is that what you're building right now can be very impactful to generation compared to other people who are building to impact what they are right now. On the advice on founders and engineers in Africa, mine is also like to emphasize on what you're building, and what you're building should have like a 10-year ahead vision in your mind when you're building that. When you're building out, you have to have a future in your mind again, because you're not building for Africa in 2026. You're building for Africa in 2036, So let me say when NVIDIA were building in 1997, they had a future for 20 years, or rather more than that. But the impacts have come to realization, let me say, some years back. So they had a vision and the ambition to execute what they had in mind. So believing in what you have in mind, regardless of what people say, is what I'm telling Africa Founders to do, because what you're building is an imagination, is an imagination that everyone should come to realize in future. When you make it a real thing. So what you're building matters a lot than what people say. So Africa Founders should focus on their vision rather than the hype and trends that are around them. The other thing is that when you are a founder in Africa, you have to be all around. You have to be a fundraiser. You have to be an engineer. You have to be a CFO for that sake and everything. So a researcher. So when you're building in Africa, you have to be all around, and you have to be someone that is more aggressive, someone who is more aggressive. And when it comes to execution, you have to execute it aggressively, not with speed, but with aggressiveness that can change what is on the ground. The other thing is that when you are an engineer in Africa, expect more disappointments and build yourself and become more rigid to sustain what is the problems rather than the celebrations. So when you're building in Africa, you have to be more patient and more resilient on what you're doing. There's a
Thank you so much, Neville, for your insights. Thank you so much to everyone on the panel for your wisdom, your perspectives, and also your practical suggestions. It has really been an insightful and impactful panel discussion. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And this is where we end the first panel.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for that insightful discussion. And I just feel like this conversation needs to continue building up in the upcoming Africa FutureTech Summit, when we can create more time so that we can fully exhaust this conversation. And with that said, we're going to transition now. We can't have this session without having a conversation with the amazing women that are contributing the development of the future tech space. So with that panel, I've got Chipili Nonde here, who's going to be taking us through this panel discussion. Chipili, are you on the call? And I see your team on the call here. Chipili, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call.
Okay,
hello.
great. Yeah, so I see you've got, let me see who is joining us on the panel. You've got Walia Nonde. We've got Paul Machaka, Iram Wahid, and Dr. Modupe Atibe. So if they're on the call, I think they can join you now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to panel 2 of today's Ecosystem Man Engagement webinar. My name is Chipili Nonde, and I'm honored to moderate this important discussion on women in innovation, cybersecurity, and digital inclusion. So as Africa continues accelerating into a digital future shaped by artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, Web3, startups, and emerging technologies, one thing is clear: inclusion cannot be optional. Women and girls must not only participate in innovation ecosystems, but they must lead, shape, build, and influence them too. So in today's conversation, we'll explore how we create more opportunities for women in technology, strengthen mentorship and internship pathways, improve cybersecurity awareness, increase access to funding and collaboration, and ultimately build more inclusive innovation ecosystems across Africa and beyond. So we're privileged to be joined by this outstanding panel of leaders and professionals who are contributing meaningfully to these conversations. So once again, I'll introduce our women here. We've got Ms. Wale Nonde, Ms. Mpo, Ms. Iram Wahid, and Dr. Modupe Ativi. Sorry, I hope I got everyone's names right. All right, silence, I will take that.
Yeah.
The broader ecosystem perspective. So yeah, across Africa and globally, we are seeing increasing participation of women in innovation, entrepreneurship, and emerging technologies. So my question to each of what opportunities currently exist for women in innovation, entrepreneurship, and emerging technologies, and where do you see major gaps that need urgent attention?
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Chipidi. So the good part is there are so many opportunities now than ever. Whether it's in entrepreneurship or digital skills training, even like remote tech jobs and startups, there are like so many free opportunities that are available for women now. So one thing that us as women need to do is just to be curious. Like we need to be curious, because what is encouraging is that women no longer need to wait for permission to participate. So through these online learning platforms and hackathons, women can build skills, they can create solutions, and even launch businesses from wherever they are. There are so many organizations out there that are offering free learning opportunities to women. It can be under blockchain. There are free blockchain boot camps. There are free digital skills boot camps as well. These people are willing to give these skills for free to women out there. So this is really encouraging. And, it just shows that there's access, the opportunities, they exist, but then it's just the awareness. A lot of people don't know that there are so many free programs that are being offered there. So I think one thing that can be improved on is awareness, to just tell women out there that this is where you're able to find these courses. There are people who are willing to mentor women now. And, once you learn these free skills, you're able to use these skills to even start your own business. So some don't even have to go to full uni and then they get their papers. I actually once took this short course. It was a digital skills course. It was for free, and it was the mentors were based in Nigeria, and it was an online one. All I had to do was be available for it. So all these opportunities, they exist. They are there. There are so many people who are willing to give to the communities, to give back to society. So as women, we really need to just reach out, to tap in and make ourselves available and willing to learn, so that we can gain these skills, use them to provide solutions for communities that we stay in, and also to be able to even start our own businesses. So yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Mrs. Man. That was very insightful. I'm sure everyone has seen that there's always a way that women and girls can participate in all these innovation, in all these, in all this. So I'll now move to Mrs. Mpo. I think the same question is directed to you. What opportunities currently exist for women in innovation, entrepreneurship, and emerging technologies, and where do you see major gaps that need urgent attention?
Okay. Thank you so much as well for that question, and good afternoon again to everyone. Basically, I would say that, sometimes when we look at business, right, I don't, or rather, in my view, I never used to think about business more in a gender type of, outlook, if I can put it that way. All right. So I believe that in the dispensation of time where we are right now, especially with the development of technology and the trajectory of how new emerging technologies are actually, shaping the current economic landscape, I believe whatever it is that is actually existing right now in terms of opportunities that are created by this emerging technologies, I believe that it is a fit and a suitable space for every woman to participate in it. Okay. I believe that every opportunity that is actually created by this emerging time, women also has to find their place in actually, shaping the future, shaping the narrative of how this, economics are being built and also developed. And I believe in terms of the challenges that actually, creates a barrier, if I can put it that way, for many women, is the fact that we come from different aspects of how can I put it, limitations and barriers that we actually have inherited, from how things have been done, like, in the past. In the past, you'll find that, work was not the same as it is today. So women have always been behind at home, doing things at home and things like that. But things have changed and they have evolved. So today, business is no longer about, only a certain gender should be in the forefront. Now more opportunities, more, avenues have been actually created and platforms for women to actually participate. The only challenge we have is that many don't know about the opportunities that exist, and many are still a little bit afraid to actually tap into, unknown terrains. So there is a little bit of that fear, or that how can I put it, drawback, because they are not sure, what the expectations would be if they actually start engaging. But I'm here, as an example to say, women should not actually be afraid to take on this kind of opportunities, because opportunities are there, because the economy is actually now more open and available to everybody. Okay. I think that's how I would respond to this one for now.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Borgo. I think we can all see that there's so much that we can learn from our wonderful women in tech here. Yeah, thank you so much for enlightening us. And once again, we'll move on to the next panelist. The same question will be given to you, Ms. Iram Wahid.
Hey everyone, I am Iram Wahid from Pakistan. First of all, this is a great platform or a great opportunity and multiple experience, and I learned from here. Let introduce myself. Uh, I have almost 5 year experience in software development and penetration testing, web application penetration testing, and I am IT information security officer in Pakistan power sector. And recently, I am working on web assessment, vulnerability assessment of the power sector applications, uh, which are built in different platforms. Some are built in the Microsoft Power Automations, SharePoints, .NET, and Oracle based. These are a Web 2, and here I am learn from Web 3, blockchain, and these technologies. but still web applications and vulnerabilities areas are still in initial stages, and there's a more working on it. And I am using a different AI platforms like Workshop, SQL Maps for penetration testing and web application testing, and such a good experience in which I have. Uh, it's like my experience for a fair contribution of an ecosystem. There's a multiple opportunities for enterprise and starting step for especially in I have experience in the web energy sectors application. It's not just a small application, it's a national level application, and we are adopting the internationally platforms like market energy market, how it's work, and how different entities are like in education institutions are consultancy provide consultancy services, and different forecasting services of the energy sectors as well. And IT experts and IT startups are providing us such wonderful opportunities for such platforms. They are providing the different entities contributing in search sectors, and they provided there's a different areas, like they provided advanced level penetration testing. Some are providing inside, but they are a consultancy also providing, and blockchain opportunities ideas are sharing. They will contribute in the energy sector applications as well as institutions. They are also provided in the research areas, and in such way they are also contributed in such a way in ecosystem of the enterprise as such ideas, great ideas. They can help us not just the academia areas, but it's also industries experts areas.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for also enlightening us as well. You know what I love about this is like you women are so involved, and you've really taken the time to take an interest in this, and you're teaching us so much. Yeah, I think it's very good that everyone can have the chance to be involved and participate in this. And then finally, our final panelist, I'll ask the same question goes to you, Dr. Modupe.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. Well, meet you, Chipili. I hope I got that right. But even if I didn't, you can call me Mo. Sometimes people find it difficult to say Mudupe, so you can just say Mo. Mo is fine and works quite well. Thank you. Right.
All right,
So
Mo.
I would say that for women in the industry, there are several points of entry. And I really love what Boalia said, that you don't need anyone's permission to get involved anymore, right? So now that we know we don't need anyone's permission to get involved, what are the entry points? How do we get into, and it depends on your skill. For me, it's very important that women do not get over challenged by the fact that, oh, I don't know how to code. So I think the group of people I reach out to the most at the moment are women who maybe don't have the opportunity to go back to learning code or development, software development. And I know quite a lot of women in that field as well, and they're doing extremely well. But then, what if I don't know how to code? Must I be able to code before I get involved fully in the whole Web3 and the digital economy? And I'm saying no, there's several entry points, right? So there's the service-based entry points. So you have a service to offer. And now this is like more of the like the low-hanging fruits in the sector, but it's a starting point. And I know women who started at this level and then they've been able to advance and increase. And now they're involved in something so much bigger. So I encourage women sometimes get involved in things like digital marketing, content creation, Web3 content creation while you're studying, and then you could still be earning, right? And then you can now graduate to product-based entry. So when it comes to like the product-based entry, this is you being a developer. But even if you're not being a developer, you could be a marketing personnel, and then you also get involved. You understand the economy, you know how it works, you know, and you're also still involved. You know, then there's also consulting. So you have grown to the point where you become an expert, you're recognized and a voice, and just like a lot of the female thought leaders here on the call, and then you can be involved in helping other SMEs, other startups, you know, with their operations, you know, and moving into the true future digital economy, how to adopt AI, you know, the systems. It's the kind of mentorship that we've all been talking about, right? And you'll be able to offer that at that point as well. And I think it's just quickly, it's important to include what I think women need to become, to be funded. It is a real pain point for a lot of us in Africa, and this is not just the women at the moment. I really, really enjoyed listening to Neville, and his contributions and his feedback was based on the fact that I am an African developer and I know really how this works, you know, so I really connected with a lot of what Neville shared with us. But in my opinion, what do we need as women to become fundable? First of all, is a painful problem. And when I'm saying a painful problem, it has to be a problem that is recognized as a problem to everyone else. So I have an experience where I was pitching for funding before a small Silicon Valley panel. And what I felt was a pain problem, they didn't regard as a problem at all, because from their part of the world, it was not a problem at all. So you need to be careful the kind of problem you're presenting. If it is a problem only in your locality, it's unlikely to be regarded as, you know, extremely important, because people are looking for solutions that have global relevance. And then the simplicity of your solution as well. So if you've built something or you're a part of building something, it's about the simplicity and the relevance of your solution as well. And I think this is the most important thing. For investors, they also want to see a revenue model, right? What's your business model? How do you intend to make money? It doesn't just have to be a good idea, and it has to make money as well. So I think this is how I want to answer that question, and I hope I did it some justice. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much for that. You know, I love what you said, that you don't need to have an idea of where to start, but you can still get involved. I think most people find it very hard to be involved in things if they have no clue or know where to start. But if they just take the initiative to just join without even having an idea, I think that also helps in learning. So thank you very much for that, Dr. Mo. All right, so we now move on to the second part. We're going to ask this question to Mrs. Walia Nonde. Ms. Walia, how important are mentorship, internships, and innovation communities in helping women grow in technology and entrepreneurship?
Okay, so I believe mentorship, internships, and innovation communications are very essential to helping women grow in technology and in entrepreneurship. When it comes to mentorship, you know, it's powerful because it gives women guidance from people who have already navigated similar paths. Like, this is a person who has had a journey, they have experienced similar challenges, and they're able to guide you, they're able to hold your hand and guide you, you know, because you have someone who can share the experience. They're going to offer encouragement in times of where you feel disappointed or not enough. and they're going to remind you that you belong in these spaces. So just having someone to be there for you, to guide you, really makes a huge difference. Because, sometimes a woman can feel like, I'm not good enough. I don't think I belong to a certain space. But having someone who actually believes in you and is willing to mentor you and guide you has allowed so many women out there to lead amazing teams, to come up with amazing innovations, because this allowed them to have confidence in themselves, to have exposure and also connections. And internships are also important because they create opportunities for practical learning. So it gives a woman an opportunity to gain real world experience, to participate in building systems, in also creating networks, and it also gives them confidence to like contribute meaningfully in a workspace. So yeah, they get to learn skills, they get to have that experience, they get to experience the challenges that come with being in a real world in a real organization. So this is like building them, like they're starting from scratch. Through this internship they gain knowledge, they are able to perform and also learn how to deal with certain challenges that come in the tech and entrepreneurship space. And then, with innovation communities, I feel like these are often underestimated, because communities make you feel like you belong. They give women spaces to learn together, to collaborate, ask questions, and also to support one another. Like, these communities also offer opportunities, like they become gateways to so many opportunities. Women are able to find jobs, they're able to find learning opportunities through these communities. So this is very important. Like, they also, like, these communities even provide opportunities for women to find partnerships. Okay, like they're able to find partners that they can work with and build amazing innovations that can help communities. So these are like really important. Like, if as a woman I want to enter into technology or entrepreneurship, really these are opportunities that I need to venture in. The journey is intimidating, to be honest, because you don't know where to start from. You don't know what to do, what to learn, how to go about what you're learning. But if you have access to a mentor, you have access to an internship, and you belong to a strong community that is supporting you, that really makes women to be able to have confidence in themselves and achieve great things when it comes to innovations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you for enlightening us with that. I'm sure if everyone has heard one or two things here, and we're very thankful for that insight on that. The next question goes to Mrs. Mpo. So this question is based on cybersecurity and digital trust. So as digital economic systems continue expanding, cybersecurity is like no longer just a technical issue, but it is now a business, innovation, and social issue. So the question is, why is cybersecurity awareness becoming increasingly important for startups, innovators, and digital communities, especially as more women enter technology ecosystems?
Okay, so for that question, Chipili, I hope I'm actually pronouncing your name correctly as well. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Okay, so obviously globally we know that there is an increase in terms of cybersecurity challenges, and I believe that, as we know, that there is no business even today that is actually running online that does not have a security strategy, all right, which is actually focused on dealing with the challenges, that are associated with cybersecurity. So as women actually enter into the space, this actually becomes part and parcel of the skills that we also need to be aware of due to the nature of the environment where we are now entering into. And it becomes more important because for one to actually thrive in a digital space, you have to be able to secure your digital identity and also be able to secure your digital innovations so that you can actually protect the sustainability of your business. Okay, so it's no longer that thing of saying that it's something that we could think about, as an afterthought, if I can put it that way. So for us to get, like, become successful in this domain as well, it actually becomes very imperative that we actually understand the dynamics that are actually surrounding the demands of the cyber security skills that we need to be acquainted with so that we can be able to become successful in what we are actually implementing, or that we are designing and building within the same technical ecosystems.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think once more, I just keep saying this. I love how the women are so involved in tech.
Yeah. So
You women are really inspiring us even more. The
yeah.
more you guys involved, the more we want to work with you guys, and
Yeah.
it's really pushing us forward, not just as a continent, but as the world, and we're all working together. I think I love that so much.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right. So now we move on to our third panelist.
I have add one more point in women in cybersecurity
Okay,
contribution.
okay. Thank you. You can
Uh,
add that.
it, it it just not professional women need to awareness of this because era of IT, and it's
Mm.
a housewife woman working with the kids, and there's a has such worldwide wires are contributed, and ecosystem yeah, education system move into the online classes, and there's a every everything is online, and there's a housewife women are also aware about the social engineering attacks because mobile apps, Zoom apps, and any other thing, and banking apps
That's
are
right.
also installed in a single device. And if clicking on a single clicks, they can compromise the every others application. The awareness about the web security, it's not just a professional woman, it's also a housewife woman is a very important in this area.
Thank you so much for that addition. You've cleared up for us. And yeah, we now have a good idea as well. Thank you so much. So now we'll move on to the next question. All right. So this question is funding and access to opportunities. Like, access to funding like remains one of the biggest barriers for many startups and innovators. So like particularly women. So this one goes to you, Iram. See, I really hope I'm getting your name right. This one goes to you, Iram. So, what support systems or partnerships or funding opportunities are needed to help women-led startups and innovators grow sustainably?
Can you repeat your question? I can't hear you properly.
Oh, sorry. The question is, what support systems, partnerships, or funding opportunities are needed to help women-led startups and innovators grow sustainably?
um, I have not such big idea has such but still I have give some ideas about this. Uh, there's some funding companies, there's some other institutions, they work with the such kind of uh, contributing with the women learning areas in search. They are good with the search consultancies organization as well, and search funding areas. They can help us to contribute in such way.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I think with startups, it's really hard to find funding, but if we take note of all these, it can be easy to access the funding. And now the final question goes to you, Dr. Mo. So this is thrive and technology.
Yeah, I'm not really sure it's my device. I think we lost Chipiri on the call. Dr. Mo, did you get the question? Dr. Mo? Okay, so you're also struggling with the sound, but can you hear me? Okay, sure. Please go ahead. You can log out and
I can hear
rejoin.
you.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Mo is having challenges. She's dropped a text in the chat box. So she's gonna log off and then rejoin. I think Chipiri also had dropped off. Chipiri, are you on the call now?
Oh, hello. Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm
Yeah,
having some terrible network.
Dr. Mo has also dropped off. She'll be rejoining. So what you do is maybe let's have concluding remarks for the other participants, and then as she comes back, she'll take the question and give her concluding remarks. Thank you.
All right. So we've reached the end of this wonderful discussion. Thank you so much. You women have been so amazing and you've taught us so much. So since we've reached the end, we're going to just ask what advice or message would you like to share with young women? What advice would you give to young women venturing into entrepreneurship, innovation, cybersecurity, and emerging technologies? We'll start with you, Mrs. Walio.
All right. So I think what I can just advise women out there is that you don't need to have everything figured out before you begin. You don't need to be the most experienced person in the room.
Everyone.
What matters is being willing to learn, to stay curious, and to keep showing up. We need to put ourselves there. I do understand that technology can sometimes feel intimidating, especially when you don't see enough women in the tech space. But we still need to put ourselves there and believe in ourselves. Yeah, we should not convince ourselves that we don't belong. because we are creative, we are smart, and our ideas are very important and people need to hear them. So yeah, like women just need to not be afraid to ask questions. We should also because sometimes the biggest barrier is self-doubt, that imposter syndrome of you don't believe in yourself. Like, no, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can learn this. But we need to stop telling ourselves that. We need to tell ourselves, I belong. I am able to learn. I'm able to be smart. I'm able to come up with smart innovations. I'm able to make a difference to communities. I'm able to find solutions to problems out there. So, yeah, I can just encourage women to believe in themselves, to just put themselves there, and also start having access, like start looking for opportunities. Opportunities are there. A lot of opportunities are there. Communities are there, and they're just waiting to welcome you, to be there for you. So, yeah, we just need to put ourselves there and apply for these opportunities.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Nonde. Dr. Mo, do we have you back? Is
Yes, I'm
the
back.
network okay outside?
Apologies. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, the sound was, I couldn't speak, or at least it wasn't audible.
All
So yeah,
right.
back to your
Yeah,
question
glad
on
to have you back. Yeah. All right. My question was, how can institutions, ecosystems, and technology communities create more inclusive environments for women and girls in technology?
Mhm. Okay, so inclusion is one of the most important topics. And while in a lot of ecosystems, in a lot of spaces, there is inclusion in principle, but not in practice. And I say this because I have been personally affected by some of this. I've been in groups, um, and some rooms where, when I'm the only woman in the room, and everyone says on paper, "Oh yeah, we definitely will include you. We're ready for this. We're ready to do this with you." But when it comes down to it, I found out that there's conversations have been had without my involvement, and things have happened, even sometimes directly under my purview, and it's been handled differently, outside of me. So I have experienced some of this non-inclusion, um, while everyone says we're included on paper. When we're in meetings and we're on global conversations like this, platforms like this, people will say, yes, there is inclusion, but it's sometimes is not really there in principles. Now, not all the time. This has happened a few times, but not all the time. But now, how can women be more included? And I think it goes back down to how much value you attach to yourself. And I feel that if you find yourself in a room where someone ignores you, then it's their loss. But as long as you increase your value and your confidence about what you know, and your points, what you have to offer is globally relevant, I think you should just keep pushing until you find the right room. So people say, and even the question that just came now before this question about funding, there's a lot of funding available. I personally see funding options every single day on LinkedIn directed at women. But then you go in there to make an application and they say, oh, only available to US residents, or only available to, those kind of things. So that is inclusion out. It's not inclusive, right? Because only US women, that's not inclusive. And I need this funding as well, but it's not available to me, it's not accessible by me. So what can we do? I think in Africa, we need to think of our own our own VCs, and reach out to people of influence within Africa who are willing to take a chance on African ideas and African solutions, because I think we are growing we should go out of depending on the first world for funding. There's no funding available, and some of them they use it as an opportunity, also tax evasion. Oh, I have funding available, but how many people are actually really accessing this funding? So when it comes to inclusion, whether it's talking about giving a seat at the table or making funding available, it's it's a tough conversation because we see it mentioned, but how many people are really getting it involved? The last call that I was on, I heard Friedrich saying that the attention given to women now was increased to 35%. And I was like, that is a really impressive figure because it's much less like that in many other platforms and in many other groups. So inclusion is a very important conversation, and we need to begin to do something for African women as Africans, and not just speak about inclusion on paper or in meetings, and actually really get women involved, promote women-led ideas, women-owned businesses. And I'm not saying this just to be partial to women, but the truth is, I have seen a lot of really amazing and fantastic ideas. Again, I've seen a lot of women giving up too quickly because they feel like there's not much really available to them out there. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I think, as you said, like most of the time it's just on paper that women are involved. Then once either the funding or the processes start taking place, they forget about you women. And personally, I don't like that. And if once that's worked on, I feel like everything will be very good. So thank you very much for pointing that out. So now we're reaching the concluding remarks. Yeah, we're now reaching the concluding remarks. Already, Walia gave us some advice that young women can take, and now we'll move on to Mrs. Mpo. Any advice or concluding remarks you'd like to give to the younger women? A minute or less would be okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think what I would like to say in my closing is that now that there are so many opportunities and that the stage has been set for women to also participate, I believe women should not actually hold back, and they must not also undermine their abilities or even their competencies, because really the journey is not about being the best technical woman, in tech, but it's about, taking baby steps to actually see where you are and start where you are, because nobody just became a technical guru without starting from somewhere. Everybody started from somewhere. So I like also what Dr. Mo was saying, the fact that there's many avenues in terms of entering into this space. You don't have to be a coder like us. You don't have to know how to code. There's many opportunities that are still available in the digital space whereby you don't really need to be a coder. So in short and in very briefly is that we must not be afraid. The stage has been set. There is room for everybody. And the fact that where you find yourself in places that you're not welcome, you just move to the next audience. And surely, I believe that as you continue to connect, as you continue to find and navigate your way, obviously through mentors as well, you will end up, being in the right place whereby your value will be appreciated and your contribution will be accepted. And that is how you will also be able to grow. But the last thing that you can do is just to stay back, never get involved, and not actually become part of this moving train. So you just have to jump in and move together with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This great. Everyone just has to jump in. We're all moving forward at this point, so we all just follow the train moving forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Mr. Iram, any advice you'd like to give? Oh.
as I told you in the my introduction, I just not have I start my career as a software developer and then move into the penetration tester. Then I realized that the women in IT sector the field of the IT sector is a very balanced life for the woman in term of a mother and in term of a work balance life, because as a IT and as such Pakistan is an underdeveloped country. There's a search institute, a search other fields. If working women have sometimes not allowed to work from home opportunities, that they are such field like field work, side work. There's a difficult to maintain the work from home opportunity, but there's in my field, in the IT field, its work balance life as a professional woman is quite easy. So awareness about the woman, it's in the area of using the area we have a IT, we make the each field easier for not just a woman but everyone. But in search, just like African and over Pakistan or India, in search Asian countries, which is underdeveloped, there is a women are still need to be awareness about there's a it's quite easy using the area of the ITs and using these technologies. Women move in search and also the contribution of the women such like I personally, I when I joined the power sector, there's a sometimes it's kind of myth or a such women's not working in the network, working in the developer, not network area, contributing has a 30 or 40 50% women in Pakistan in the power sector area, not just inside areas also. And it's an honor for me, and I am also want to work for the women's. There's a just there's a just to explore the opportunities for the women if they feel if they want, they don't say I am alone, I yeah, are feeling just like a woman is emotional. No, woman is when we enter in the professional life, we contribute equally, and your skills, your technical skills, your professional skills are very strong when you work with such professional environments. And you learn it not just I am also contributing as a software test engineer. So these qualities are not working me as a professional, it's also improving you by your personal life, your growth in because when you work as a professionally, you manage everything easily. And I give you a message awareness how to but it's needs still work how to give the how to explore the opportunities, and how to show you are a professional, and you are your skills it contribute over societies, contribute your not just country, not just your country, it's contribute all over the world. If you work smartly, if you work on your skills, your interest of the skills. And think
Thank you very much, Ms. Iram. Yeah, knowledge on this space. And thank you very much. Uh,
So there's a quote by Isaac Newton that I like quite well. It says, "If I have seen further, it's because I have stood on the shoulders of giants," or yeah, on the shoulders of giants. So saying we should toward and be willing to mentor. So no matter how busy you are, create time, make time to lift another woman up. Find out where she is in her journey and what can you do? What can you offer her? What kind of help, guidance can you offer her? We all got to where we are now because we were helped by other people. There were people who held our hands and took us to where we need to be. So as much as possible, let's be available for other women, mentor them. And while we're also being mentored, I know I'm constantly being mentored by people from all over the world. And on this call, I've also learned a lot as well. So yeah, that's my final comment.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Mo. And once more, thank you very much, everyone who participated. Your insights, experiences, and contributions were very important in this conversation, and you really taught us a lot. So women not simply participating in this, having you guys all involved will really keep everyone for the future, and it's a very wonderful thing. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. So let's continue learning, collaborating, building, mentoring, and creating opportunities for each other. Once again, I'm Chipili Nonde, and it's been a pleasure moderating for this session. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, MIBT Ecosystem, for helping us, and South Africa Association Organization for helping us engage in this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate. Yeah. So there you have it. I feel that, again, we need more space. The conversation has just started. So we can't wait for the Africa Future Tech Summit 2026, where we're going to continue. But of course, these are monthly webinars. So we see how we can work with Impo, who's a new director for Women in Trade at the FCFTA, Young Entrepreneurs Federation. She's the director for the RFF Women Wing. And Impo, these women here are entrepreneurs. So naturally, they fall under your directorate. So
That's
why
right.
don't you invite them? Invite them on the RFF, ecosystem, right? Then we can work alongside as we build the tech space. Yeah. So we can have a dedicated webinar for the women. Okay. And these amazing women come to that conversation, then we continue. So thank you so much for those insights. I believe, Paul, as we wind up, you have some final interaction with MIBT COO, I believe. So you wanna do that?
Yes, let's do that. And yes, Chipili, thank you so much for excellently facilitating this last panel. It was really amazing. So with my last interventions right now, even in the interest of time, I'm just going to invite the MIBT COO just to give us her final thoughts and comments before we actually close up the session today. Is she still online?
Yeah, thank you. I'm here. Is it Miss Simpo or Mrs. Simpo? Which one? Sorry.
It's Mrs. It's Mrs. Yeah.
Mrs. Okay,
yeah.
fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So what did you say I should just the last, just the final say?
No, I was just saying your final thoughts with regards to the sessions that we've had. Just your closing remarks, because of we don't have time to go into a lot of questions at this point
Oh,
in
yeah.
time. Yeah, so just in the interest of time, I'm just requesting for your final thoughts and remarks based on what we've heard on this webinar.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. No, thank you very much to all. And, I've been following through
Yes.
since the start of this webinar. And I would say maybe the first thing I would mention is there's one panelist who mentioned earlier to say Africa do not lack ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Africa do not lack ideas. So from that, I can concur with him that truly we have a lot of ideas and talents in Africa, and this is evidence because we can even see what you women have discussed. Meaning, I was following through. I've seen talent, ideas. You have a lot of, and you're passionate, a lot of ideas and so forth. So on that part, we need to really work hard as Continental, so that all of us we work hand in hand instead of working in silos. We have to work together. Yeah, whereas Africa there, Kenya, and so forth. All of us, we need to work together so that we build one thing that will help entrepreneurs, innovators, and so forth, so that all of us we build something strong as we have started. So now, maybe one thing that I can just mention about when it comes to Africa FutureTech Summit 2026 is that we need to discuss real issues that will help young entrepreneurs and tech personnel to help them create potential or practical collaboration opportunities. For example, when I look at startups, startups can connect with innovators, and I'm looking forward to that. And also innovators to meet research institutions. SMEs can also explore technology partnership. And so I also think you should also strengthen conversation around AI, automation, digital transformation, manufacturing innovation. Again, when you look at smart agriculture, renewable energy, and industry development. So all these, I'm looking forward to see that time to time, we have to keep on building up, discussing matters like this. So Africa is there to build all of us. Actually, I can say Africa is there to build or to strengthen the world. The whole world is dependent on Africa. So thank you so much for these discussions that all of you have contributed, because all in all, I'm looking forward where technology allows young entrepreneurs, for instance, here in Zambia, like Lusaka, Nairobi, Lagos, and Kigali, and so forth, to build a solution that can save the entire continent. So, but I can see that success is for one to be successful, there's need for collaboration, consistency, continuous learning, and execution. So thank you so much, everyone. And I'm looking forward to have more conversation in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. London. That was very true that we need to collaborate more, strengthen conversations that are meaningful, especially in the development of of the continent. With that said, I just want to bring my co-host back for his final thoughts, Mr. Frederick, and then we will actually close the session because time is no longer on our side. Mr. Fred, over to you.
Oh, I was thinking you're gonna do the remark. As my
Okay.
co-host, you have that, in view of time, you can take the responsibility. Yeah. So
Okay.
thank you so much for everything. Sure.
Okay. All right, then I'll take the pleasure of actually closing an amazing session we had. I think from all the speakers that have actually contributed so powerfully in this webinar, we are grateful, we are thankful. And then in the interest of time, I just want to thank everyone for participating. I want to thank everybody for joining us as well. Even those who are not necessarily speaking much, I want to thank everybody for the comments as well that we have received. And I think they're going to put, or rather give us another additional topics that we can actually include in our next webinar. And also, we are very excited looking forward to the next summit for 2026. And I think some of the conversations that we've started today and some of the topics that we also, did not necessarily exhaust, fully. I think we're going to have to take them, in the next level, to the next level on our next webinar. So wonderful colleagues. I want to thank you. Wish you a wonderful evening and bye.
Thank you, everyone, and
Thank you.
pleasant
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Pleasant
Thank
evening.
you.
Yeah.
Blessing. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.